requested an explanation of the first country of safety principle. The first country of safety principle is guided by the UN, and that says in situations of conflict, people are allowed to move from their countries and go to the next country where there's no conflict and be given refugee status and be protected. Even if they come with no proof of identification, you need to register them and accommodate them and give them some level of recognition. Why? Because sometimes they'll run away when there's under attack and there's nothing they can take. They only take the clothes on their back, and that's important. And if you look with South Africa's geographical location, we do not have a situation of conflict in the countries adjacent to us. There's no war in Botswana. There's no war in Lesotho. There's no war in Zimbabwe. There's no war in Namibia. There's no war in Mozambique. Even if you go slightly further, there's no war in Zambia. There's no war in Malawi. So therefore, it will mean the people who are leaving the South Sudan, not even South Sudan, who are leaving the Sudan, must settle in the next country of safety, which will be Sudan, South Sudan, and also, is it Somalia? They must settle in that area. And or Uganda, the regions that are within closest to them. So we don't have what we call political refugees or refugees. So the white paper is aimed at making sure that we then regulate that arrangement of who gets admitted as a refugee here. And in exceptional circumstances, we have admitted economic refugees. You'll remember when Zimbabwe had an economic meltdown, and when the period of droughts, extended drought periods, we have admitted people as economic refugees. When the time we introduced the Zimbabwean special permit, we admitted them because it's inhumane to sit in your country and allow your neighbors to die when you can assist. But the question that we have is that, does the economic situation still warrant economic migrants in the country? So the white paper deals with those issues. I don't want to say who doesn't qualify to be here because of that definition, because you then say Minister Nchabeni is mobilizing against this grouping, that grouping, and then I'll be accused of xenophobia. But the white paper also defines what is the first country of safety. And we urge, it will be available in the Home Affairs and Government website. We urge South Africans to go and familiarize themselves in. Thank you.
First country of safety. South African government finally responds. You know something is seriously wrong when a country that is already struggling with unemployment, crime, and collapsing public system is now being accused of becoming a refugee heaven of convenience. But now the South African government has finally spoken, and they are using the term that many people have not heard before: first country of safety principle. The question is this the solution? Is this the solution South Africans have been waiting for? Solution to the crisis of illegal immigrants and an influx of immigrants as a whole to this country? Or just another political statement with no real impact? Let us break it down. What is the first country of safety? Let us start here, because this is where most of the confusion is. The first country of safety principle simply means that if a person is fleeing danger or persecution from their country of origin, from their native land, their native country, they must seek refuge in the first safe country they enter. Not this nonsense we are seeing that you've got Bangladesh, people from Bangladesh, people from Somalia, people from Ethiopia, people from Pakistan, people from Ghana, people from Nigeria, who now have crossed many countries before they get to South Africa. Not the richest country. The first country of safety principle is not talking about not the richest country. You cannot pick and choose. Not the country with the best opportunities, but the nearest safe country. So in theory, if someone leaves a war-torn country and passes through 3 or 4 peaceful countries before reaching South Africa, right? South Africa has the right to say, why didn't you apply for asylum in those countries first? And that is exactly what the government is now emphasizing. And that is what the activists on the ground have been raising with the government. Why is this issue coming up now? Why is this an issue all of a sudden? Well, this did not just come out of nowhere. There has been growing anger among South Africans who feel that the refugee system is being abused, and correctly so. It's being abused. They are correct to say this system is being abused. People are entering South Africa for economic reasons, not genuine asylum. And some are using fraudulent asylum claims just to stay in the country. Now, let us be honest. South Africa is not the closest safe country for many of the people applying for asylum here in this country. Yet, it has one of the highest numbers of asylum seekers on the continent. That raises a serious question, a pertinent question. Are we dealing with refugees or economic migrants using the refugee system? Right? And that's where the public frustration is coming from. The white paper on citizenship. Now, this is where things get more serious. The government did not just speak randomly. This discussion is informed by the white paper on citizenship. And the white paper is basically a policy direction document that says South Africa needs to tighten its citizenship and immigration systems. Some of the key ideas include: 1. Stricter rules for neutralization. 2. Closing loopholes in the asylum system. 3. Ensuring that refugee status is not used as a backdoor to permanent residence. In simple terms, the government is saying we have been too loose and now we need control. But the real question is, will they actually implement it? Because that's another problem for our government. The reality on the ground. Because here's the truth. Many people are afraid to say. Here's the truth that many people are so afraid to say. South Africa already has laws. The problem is not always the law. The problem is enforcement. We have seen asylum seekers waiting for years for decisions. Corruption in the system. Fake documentation being issued. Deportation processes that are slow or ineffective. So even if the first country of safety principle is correct, without enforcement, it means nothing. And South Africans are tired. They are tired of policies that sound good on paper, but don't change anything on the ground. The dangerous balance. Now let us be fair. This is a very sensitive issue because on one side you have genuine refugees fleeing war, persecution and death. People who truly need protection. But on the other side, you have a system that is being exploited. And if the government gets this wrong, it could lead to human rights violations, xenophobic tensions, social instability. So the challenge is, how do you protect real refugees while stopping abuse? That is the real test of leadership. Political signal or real change. Let us ask an uncomfortable question. Is this a real policy shift or just political messaging? Because we have seen this before. Government responds when there's public outrage. Strong statements are made, but very little changes afterwards. So the timing is interesting. This comes at a moment where public frustration is rising. Elections and political pressure are always in the background. And immigration is becoming a hot political issue. So you have to ask, is this about fixing the system or calming the people? All right? So at the end of the day, the first country of safety principle is not new. It's been part of international refugee law for years. The difference now is that South Africa is finally talking about enforcing it. But talk is cheap. South Africans don't want explanations anymore. They want results. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the refugee system in South Africa is being abused? Or are people being unfairly targeted? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you want more real, unfiltered political analysis, make sure you subscribe to IZWI LABANSUNDU. Make sure that you click on that join button to join, become a member, and turn on notifications. Because here, we don't sugarcoat things. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Tebus Kosana. The name of the platform is IZWI LABANSUNDU, the voice for Africans. Kama Akuma Africa.